Wendy can talk to xenomorphs. The twist that rewrites Aliens lore. What if I told you that the Alien franchise, a universe built on fear, survival, and the unknowable terror of the xenomorph, just changed forever? In Alien, Earth, we meet Wendy, a synthetic childlike being who does something no human, no android, no creature has ever done before. She doesn't just face the xenomorphs, she communicates with them. Yes, you heard that right. Wendy actually calms a chestburster with sound frequencies. This isn't just a creepy sci-fi moment. It's a lore-shaking twist that could rewrite everything we know about the alien universe, from their biology to their hive behavior and even their connection to humanity. So today, let's dive deep into how Wendy's abilities flip the alien mythos upside down, what this means for the xenomorphs, and why this might be the boldest narrative gamble in franchise history. The legacy of xenomorphs. Before we talk Wendy, let's rewind. The xenomorphs, or perfect organisms as Ash once called them, are defined by one thing: their absolute indifference to human life. They don't negotiate. They don't empathize. They kill, they breed, they spread. From the claustrophobic terror of Alien, 1979, where a single creature destroyed an entire crew, to the militarized chaos of Aliens, where a hive of xenomorphs overwhelmed heavily armed Marines, their role has always been clear. They are the apex predator. Even in Alien 3 and Resurrection, even in Prometheus and Covenant, the essence never changed. They are unstoppable predators that don't respond to reason. The franchise even gave us multiple explanations for their origin. Some point to the engineers, the mysterious ancient beings who may have crafted the xenomorphs as a bioweapon. Others focus on David, the rogue synthetic from Prometheus and Covenant, who experimented and may have shaped the modern form of the creature. But no matter which origin you prefer, one rule has always been true: the xenomorphs cannot be reasoned with. They're not pets, they're not allies, and they certainly aren't conversational partners. They are nature's fury incarnate. That's why Ripley's battles always felt so hopeless. That's why even a squad of armed Marines stood no chance. And that's why fans have always accepted the xenomorph as a pure, untouchable force of horror. Who is Wendy? The scene that changes everything. Alien. Earth introduces Wendy, a being who not only survives an encounter but literally changes how a chestburster behaves. It's not just a new character moment. It's a crack in the foundation of what makes a xenomorph. Wendy herself is fascinating. She's presented as a hybrid, partly synthetic, partly human, with an emotional innocence that contrasts with a nightmare world around her. Unlike the hardened survivors of past films, she isn't cynical. She isn't battle-hardened, she's curious. And that curiosity is everything. Her childlike nature is key. Where others see a monster, Wendy sees a mystery. She approaches the xenomorph not with fear, but with fascination. And in that moment, she produces sounds, vocal patterns, and frequencies that seem to mimic or resonate with the xenomorph's communication. The chestburster doesn't attack. It doesn't flee. It calms down. For the first time in the franchise, we see a xenomorph respond, as if understood. This isn't an accident. The writers clearly want us to see Wendy as a bridge between species, someone who cracks the code that no one else could. Let's break down that pivotal scene. Imagine the usual setup: a chestburster, freshly emerged, twitching, hissing, ready to attack. In every other Alien story, this is the moment of pure chaos. Blood, screams, death. It's the instant where survival odds drop to zero. But when Wendy steps forward, everything shifts. She doesn't scream. She doesn't run. Instead, she vocalizes, almost like humming mixed with alien clicking. Her tones feel deliberate, almost melodic, as though she's instinctively tuning into something primal. The chestburster pauses. Its body language changes. Instead of lunging, it tilts its head. Its tail lowers. It listens. It responds. That moment is electric because it undermines decades of franchise DNA. We've always believed xenomorphs were completely alien, unable to form any mutual ground with humanity. And here, a little synthetic child breaks that wall in seconds. Fans are divided. Some see it as genius, a bold move that deepens the lore. Others see it as sacrilege, arguing that the xenomorph should never be softened. But whether you love or hate it, you can't deny, this moment changes everything. If Wendy can communicate with xenomorphs, it raises huge questions about their biology and their hive intelligence. Do xenomorphs have a language? Up to now, their hisses and screeches were treated as animalistic sounds, just roars, snarls, and predator noises. But what if those were structured frequencies, a kind of primal language we were too limited to interpret? Is there empathy buried in their programming? Maybe xenomorphs aren't just killers. Maybe they're responding to cues we've never understood. That would reframe them not as monsters, but as creatures protecting their hive, acting on instinct like ants, bees, or wolves. What about the engineer's design? If the xenomorphs were engineered as weapons, maybe the engineers built in a backdoor, a way to command or pacify them. Could Wendy's hybrid nature allow her to tap into this genetic lock? And then there's the David question. If David thought he was the father of the modern xenomorph, Wendy undermines his narrative. David manipulates them through creation, through experiments and control. Wendy connects with them through communication and empathy. Two radically different relationships with the same species. This changes the game. Suddenly, the xenomorphs aren't just an unstoppable wall of death. They're a species with a potential interface. And that possibility, if explored, could redefine the entire conflict of the Alien franchise. But is this a brilliant evolution, or does it strip away what made the xenomorph terrifying in the first place? Let's explore the theories fans are already throwing around. Some believe Wendy is tapping into hidden engineer frequencies, the same tech the engineers use to control bioweapons. Her synthetic human hybrid brain might naturally mimic these. It would explain why the xenomorph pauses. It hears something that's hardwired into its survival. Another theory says xenomorphs are partially coded to respond to human traits, since they incubate in human hosts. They might carry an unconscious recognition of humanity. Wendy, being part human, triggers that dormant connection, like a key turning in a biological lock. Then there's the symbiosis theory. What if Wendy isn't just communicating, but destined to lead them? Some fans believe the show is hinting at a queen figure who doesn't rule by force, but by empathy, a total inversion of the traditional alien hierarchy. Instead of birthing the species, she could guide them, maybe even weaponize their instincts on a whole new scale. And finally, some argue this is just a narrative experiment. By introducing communication, the writers create new tension, but they also risk ruining the franchise's central fear, the unknowability of the xenomorph. If we can talk to them, if we can negotiate, does that remove the pure horror that has defined this franchise for over 40 years? Love it or hate it, these theories show just how much Wendy's scene has shaken the fandom. And honestly, isn't it the sign of good storytelling? So, what do we make of Wendy's ability to talk to xenomorphs? On one hand, it's revolutionary. It gives the Alien franchise a brand new direction, pushing it beyond simple survival horror into deeper questions about biology, communication, and coexistence. On the other hand, it risks softening the terror of the xenomorph. If they can be reasoned with, if they can be calmed, then they're no longer the perfect organism. They're just another species with a language barrier. For me, the brilliance lies in the tension. Wendy's gift doesn't make xenomorphs any less deadly. They're still apex predators, still horrifying. But now there's a sliver of mystery. What else don't we know about them? What if communication is possible, but comes at a terrible cost? What if understanding them doesn't make us safer, but draws us deeper into their world, where we don't belong? This twist doesn't close the book on Alien. It cracks it wide open, giving us new stories, new conflicts, and new fears. Because the scariest thing isn't just being hunted, it's realizing the monster you thought was mindless might have been listening all along. What does this mean for alien lore? This moment forces us to re-examine everything. Do xenomorphs actually have a structured language? Were they designed with hidden control codes by the engineers? Is Wendy's hybrid body the missing key to unlocking this connection? And how does this challenge David's claim to be their creator? If Wendy can communicate, then the xenomorph is no longer just a mindless predator. It's a species with the potential for dialogue. That possibility reshapes the franchise forever. Fan theories exploding. Fans are already lighting up forums with theories. Engineer frequency theory. Wendy is unknowingly using ancient control signals built into the species. A genetic resonance theory. Xenomorphs carry human-linked traits from incubation, and Wendy triggers those instincts. Symbiosis theory. Wendy is being set up as a new kind of queen, not by birthing eggs, but by guiding the hive with empathy. Narrative risk theory. Some believe this ruins the xenomorph mystique, stripping them of their unknowable horror. No matter which side you're on, the debate proves one thing. This twist has shaken the fandom like never before.
So, what do you think?
Is Wendy rewriting Aliens lore in the best way possible, or is this a dangerous path for the franchise? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more deep dive breakdowns into Alien, Earth, and beyond, hit that like and subscribe.